Now, the other big banner headline, Dennis, Carbon Cate. Now, we're talking about Cate Blanchett there, and that suggests that Carbon Cate, she's a big fan of carbon, but that's not really what the story says.
No, it's not really what it says. It's a terrific Sunday tabloid story. It says that Cate Blanchett, who earns $53 million a year, is telling struggling Aussie families to pay more for their electricity. It's an ad that's been put together by the unions and some environmental groups and the activist group Get Up, and essentially it's the yes case for a carbon tax. We've heard the no case. We've been hearing it all year from Tony Abbott, and this is the yes case. It's not a bad ad, but you know, in the way of things. You know, Cate gets one on the way through.
But the story there suggests there is outrage and fierce criticism around the nation of Cate Blanchett. I read the story. The Australian Family Association and Barnaby Joyce. Who else?
For goodness sake, why would we be criticising someone for giving up their time to do something? I mean, the implication is she's so rich, of course she doesn't care about a carbon tax, but you know, she didn't have to do this. She doesn't have to stand for anything.
Yeah, but the implication is, I think it's a bit like the Republican debate. It could well backfire. I mean, you know, this is about ordinary people paying more tax. And for a person who earns $53 million a year, lives in a $10 million mansion in the eastern suburbs of Sydney, to be advocating a tax so that you can pay more, I think is bound to rebound on all these groups. I don't think it'll work.
Well, so she was a central figure at the 2020 summit too, and that rebounded in a sense because it looked like a celebrity fest.
Well,
she was one
but what, I mean, I think
Kevin Rudd, of course. Kevin Rudd went to visit her baby being born in hospital rather than going to John Button's funeral, which cost him enormously inside the Labor Party. But again, that was a function of that celebrity fest culture under the Rudd government, and I think this is just a resurfacing
But isn't it a refreshing thing that celebrities are actively getting involved in issues? I mean, this is a person who's also, you know, director of Sydney Theatre Company, who's rewired the whole Sydney Theatre down at the Wharf so it is solar powered and green energy. I mean, these are positive things she's bothering to do. She doesn't have to do any of it.
She doesn't have to do it, but the other question you've got to ask yourself is, what does she know about it?
Well, maybe she's interested and maybe she's read about it. You know?
We'll have a look at the ad in a second.
Andrew Bob's always telling us he knows a lot about it because he's read about it. Maybe she's read about it.
You mentioned some of the groups. Miranda Devine this morning writes that they're shadowy groups behind it. They are what she describes as the far left Get Up, the ACTU, Conservation Foundation and Greenpeace. This is the ad.
What if we say yes to making big companies pay when they pollute our skies? We'd be saying yes to less carbon pollution.
Yes to new money for clean energy that never runs out.
Yes to help for people struggling with bills.
Yes to jobs.
Yes to better health for our kids.
And finally, doing something about climate change.
So let's say yes, Australia, because yes is what makes this country great.
Look, Barry, is just a subtle political undertone there about saying yes?
In one. I mean, it's about Tony Abbott. It's about Tony Abbott saying no to everything. And while these groups will say they're unaligned, I mean, the clear implication of that ad is critical of Tony Abbott, basically saying it's about time there were some positive messages from the opposition.
But is it beyond Tony? I mean, I think that's obvious too, but also I don't think it's just in this debate Tony Abbott who's been saying no. I mean, we've seen a lot of business groups, front page headlines from business, from steelmakers, from coal miners, electricity saying no to the carbon tax.
Gail Kelly from Westpac, even when she didn't.